Have you ever wanted to attend a conference for free?
Absolutely. All the time. You see the conferences in all those fun cities like Chicago and New York and San Francisco. And yeah, super cool to be able to go to those places, but also freakishly expensive.
Welcome to the Ken Mariko Podcast. I'm here with Mr. Hal Werner. Hal, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Great. So we were talking a couple of weeks ago about how you were involved in some kind of Twitter chat.
Indeed.
Involving a conference. Can you tell me what the conference was?
There was a conference in Dallas, and I have a number of people on my feed from that area. And so I was going through that group, that list on my Twitter feed one day, and I just noticed this hashtag keep popping up. Mm-hmm. And so I decided to look into it. I discovered it was from a conference, and so I thought, why don't I jump in on the conversation? Instead of just talking to the people that I know, why don't I go ahead and search the hashtag to see what's going on for all of it and start jumping in and getting involved.
Mm-hmm. So you put yourself in a conversation that you weren't invited to. Is that correct?
Well, I think everyone's invited to Twitter, Ken. So let's not get ahead of ourselves.
Well, no, hold on a second here. You were in a chat with a conference, right? People at the conference were chatting to each other with the hashtag, right? They paid to be at this conference, correct?
They sure did.
Did you pay to be at this conference, Hal?
I did not.
Wow.
But, I mean, I guess that's kind of the fun thing about Twitter, right? You know, you've got all these people that are talking about something, and not all of it requires being there to comment on. You know, a lot of it is, you know, general information or insights about marketing, advertising, usability. And if you have something to say on those subjects, you don't have to have your butt in the seat to have knowledge. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah, you know, essentially I kind of virtually attended this conference in a way.
Did you conference jack?
Did I what?
Conference jack?
Yeah, I guess you could say I conference jacked it. That sounds really bad.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stick with virtually attending.
Virtually attending. Okay. All right. So you had a person on the inside, correct, that helped you get your name sort of out there and involved in the conference in a way that you probably shouldn't have been.
Well, yeah. So obviously I started getting involved in this with using the hashtag and tweeting back to people who were there and all that kind of stuff. And I had somebody that I'd been interacting with a lot lately, you know, outside of the hashtag. I guess they noticed that I was tweeting with the hashtag, right. But I think they already knew that I wasn't there. And so they sent me a direct message and said, Are you live tweeting a conference you aren't attending? And I said, yes, I absolutely am. And I guess that gave her a kick or something. I don't know if it was just the fact that I was doing it or the fact that I was completely honest about it. Right. But she decided she wanted to get in on it and help me complete the illusion. Yeah. And so she was at one of the sessions and she took a photo from inside one of the sessions and sent it to me so that I could post it with the hashtag to really make it look like I was there.
Right. Wow. And so, and people like responded to this, right? Like,
yeah,
you got some tweets and stuff, like,
absolutely.
You know, hey, meet me around the corner. I'm at conference room A or something.
I had one or two people who thought they had seen me at the conference somewhere. They're like, "Oh yeah, you had the hat. I saw the hat."
The hat. And explain your hat. This is like a fedora hat.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. It's like a short brimmed fedora. I think they call it a trimble technically, but nobody knows what that word means.
So there were probably some hipsters at this conference.
There were probably a couple of hipsters at the conference, but that shouldn't be a big surprise in a marketing type conference. Mm-hmm.
What I want to know, Hal, how do you conference jack?
Well, it's really pretty simple. The first thing you need to do is do your research. You need to find out what the conference hashtag is. Pretty much any conference these days worth its salt is going to have a hashtag, and it's usually going to be on the conference website. Even on smaller conferences, as long as you're monitoring some people who might be there, you'll probably be able to find it out. So once you find it out, you obviously plug it into Twitter, you see who's doing what with that hashtag, and then you just start interacting. If you're virtually attending, as I like to call it, then
newsjacking.
Then you're not going to have all of the direct insight coming from being in a session, for example. But you probably will be able to respond in an intelligent way to what people are saying about the sessions. And that's a really easy way to get involved in the conversation. And in fact, if you have something valuable to say, it's not a bad idea to get involved, because I've monitored some of these conferences in the past where, every person in the conference is tweeting the same thing. You see 50 people tweet the exact same thing. You're not getting different takes. You're not getting any insight. You're not getting any humor about it.
Right.
And if that's something you can bring to the conversation, you're probably going to have an easier time getting involved. And that's one of the reasons I had a really easy time getting involved, because I wasn't just saying, oh my God, the person who is the voice of Siri is on the stage right now. I saw 200 people tweet that.
Right. And, and it's kind of, being at conferences, like you're really busy because like you're writing stuff down, you're going places, but like I think being home, just like at your computer,
right,
with your whole power set up, like you can be really fast, and get some thoughts out there that might take hold, like in the Twitter chat, with the hashtag,
right. Yeah, you can cut down arguably on the distractions of the conference itself.
Right.
When you're at a conference, there's a lot of stuff happening. There's people, people are shuffling around, you're trying to get comfortable. There's all this sensory feedback. But if you're just sitting at your desk on your lunch break, things are nice and quiet, then it's a lot easier to get those thoughts through, perhaps.
Yeah. And I was at a conference, typing away on my iPad.
Yeah.
You can't type that fast on an iPad.
Oh, I know. I've done it.
So tell me about this person on the inside for you.
Yeah, this is just somebody I'd been interacting with on Twitter a lot up to that point. She's somebody that's very active. She's somebody who, she doesn't just post news articles and whatnot. She's always got funny things to say or interesting insights or whatever. And so we'd been bantering back and forth a little bit. And obviously she's fun because she was willing to help me, fake my appearance at this conference. So, but yeah, it definitely helps to have somebody that's actually at the conference in order to do this, especially if you're going to try to fake being at it. I wasn't really going out of my way to try to fake it. That wasn't the point, but it really helps to have someone on the ground to get a little more out of it, just because they can give you a little more context about what's going on, or maybe who to follow or that sort of thing.
So this is somebody that you did not meet in person,
right? I've never seen this person in my life,
and yet they were willing to help you put on a charade.
Indeed, they were.
Wow, that is the power of Twitter right there,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the amazing thing to me, when Twitter first came out, I had no idea what to do with it. But now that I've seen what to do with it, I've ended up, getting together and working with people on things, having fun or doing productive things without ever seeing them, without ever being within hundreds of miles of them.
All right, wow. I will say that you, sir, have some clout.
I think so.
You have people that you've never met doing stuff for you.
That's fun.
That ranks right up there probably with Justin Bieber.
I don't know if I got the Biebs pull, but I do what I can.
Great. Hal, I understand you have a shout out to give.
Yes, my partner in crime who made this all possible, a really smart lady. Her handle is @Mommy'sWishlist, and her name is Leanne Stundens.
Well, Leanne, on behalf of Hal and myself, I say thank you.
Thank you.
All right, I've got one more question, Hal. Do you plan on paying for conference at all in the future?
I imagine there will probably be a few conferences I still attend, just because there's still value to being, that in-person element, making those connections, those personal connections. But I do have to say, after this experience, and being able to compare it to actually having attended a similar conference in person, if you really don't have the money but you still want to get some value out of it, absolutely, I'm probably going to be virtually attending a lot of conferences.
All right, so if you run a conference, don't look out for Hal and his tweets.
Don't look for me.
He's just a guy, trying to save a few bucks and get his name out there. That's all.
I need work. I got bills.
He's got bills. He's got a family. He's got mouths to feed.
I got mouths to feed.
Don't be a hater.
Don't drink that haterade. Don't do it.
All right. Well, thank you, Hal, for coming into the studio here and sharing your conference jacking techniques.
Absolutely. And congratulations on all your amazing new equipment. It's quite a setup you got here.
Oh, thank you, Hal. Thank you. So, Hal, if people want to reach you, how can they reach you?
Well, since we're talking about Twitter, let's stick to the Twitter handle, which is at Hal Werner. That's HalWerner.
Great. And you can reach me at Ken Morico, KenMorico. And also, you can go to the blog. Just go to kenmorico.com. Thanks for listening.
Like Chicago and New York and San Francisco. Like Chicago and New York and San Francisco. And like Chicago and New York and San Francisco.